Let's see what's going on here. Sarah, who's calling us from Georgia. Sarah, welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Cloud. How are you?
Much better. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate your call. How can I help you? Where are you in Georgia?
I'm right outside of Atlanta.
Right outside. If I come down there, will you take me to Merrimack's?
You betcha.
Have you ever been to Merrimack's?
We'll have
you ever been there? Have you been there?
I've heard of it. I haven't been there.
Oh,
I've heard of it. Not been.
Sarah. I mean, unless I'm doing something horrible to your health here, which you can do. It is. I never go to Atlanta without going to Merrimack's. It is.
I love it.
They got all that. They got everything I grew up with. The collard greens with the cooked in fat back and fried okra and black eyed peas and white rice with brown gravy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, well, it's right downtown, so go visit. Tell me how I can help you. Tell me how I can help you.
Hey, listen. Okay, so I think I could gain a lot of wisdom from you because you're probably in the same boat. We have kids that are about the same age. I have two kids that are in college. Okay. So we're new empty nesters. My son's actually a sophomore in college. No, that's why I'm calling.
Oh, you don't like it?
I don't like my marriage right now, and I'm reading a lot. I'm in Boundaries Taught Me, and I'm on the Facebook page. I'm reading a lot of women who are finding out they can become divorced and it's a better life, and I don't want that. I've been a stay-at-home mom, and I can't go become gainfully employed and support myself. I don't want that, first of all. I think I get going down this rabbit hole, and all I really want to do, and this is where I need your help, I want to grow in communication with my husband to get back to where we're on the same side and not fighting every night when he gets home from work.
So
because I have no life and he's working.
you have had the experience of being on the same page, and is this just happened as part of the empty nest?
Well, it was probably when the kids started to become teenagers. We have different ideas on, I'm more strict, he's not. So I think that's kind of when the bottoms start to fall out. Okay. And now when they're in college, it's amplified. They want to do things I don't want them doing, and then my husband and I are just butting heads over kids that aren't even in the house anymore. And I'm thinking, these are golden years. Forget it. I don't want this.
What kind of stuff would you fight over when the kids are in college?
Okay, so my husband goes over the budget with my daughter once a week, and she's got a certain amount allocated to bars and drinking, and I'm not fine with that. I feel like, him.
I don't know if I've ever seen, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm sorry. I know a lot of family budgets have like books and tuition and dorms and fun or entertainment or something. I've never seen a line item. Bars and drinks.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, no. Let me clarify that.
All right.
We know it's bars and drinking, but she has it as entertainment, and he's a little passive. So he says, "Oh, that's just entertainment, $100 a week on that." And I'm thinking, wait a second. Listen, we know what it's going for. Call her out on it. And then we start butting heads.
All right.
You're not doing this. I'm doing the budget, not you. Let me do it.
$100 a week on bars. I want to go back to college and have you guys fund me. That sounds like a good time. So, all right. So give me a question. Give me a question.
Okay. How exactly do we get back to where we're not just, don't blink like that. Oh, don't itch your face like that. I mean, now I feel like we're just.
Are you at that level? Literally, is that a metaphor? Or, no, you're literally talking about how each other blink.
I am to him, and he's passive, and he says, "Okay, I won't do that anymore." Okay, well, now you're breathing wrong. Stop breathing wrong. I mean, that's facetious, but you know what I'm saying? I think it's just so much built up that I'm like, I can't even stand being in the same room with you anymore because I resent you for not parenting.
Sarah,
We're not parents together.
Sarah, how psychologically processing is your husband?
Not very.
Ever?
Not very
Does he
at
talk
all.
about issues? Okay. So if you said something like, look, you said, how do we get back on the same page? Okay, here's how you don't get back on the same page. You're not going to get back on the same page in the moment around an individual issue, like is $90 the right amount for bars, or is 100, or is blinking once every 15 seconds good, or is 9. Okay, you're not going to get it in the individual squabbles. All right.
Okay.
What you got to do is you got to get out of the squabble, and you have to have a conversation. And I would start with the question of, I miss you. You know, we used to have like fun times, and I feel like we're kind of squabbling a lot now. Does it feel that way to you? And I would interview him and say, why do you think that is? And see kind of where he is, because he can't be happy with the way this feels every day.
Oh, no. Right? No, it's horrible.
So I wouldn't try to correct him or find a solution there. Here would be my main agenda in that conversation. When he comes out with, yeah, it hadn't been fun for me either, and he's gonna start with some you statements, would be my guess, because you're always on my case. I can't even breathe or blink, and I try to help the girls out, and he's gonna say all that. Don't react to that. That's not why we are in that conversation. Okay, remember that. Okay. That's not why you're in this conversation. Okay, so when he says that, then you say, yeah, no, I can tell I do a lot of things that frustrate you, and I don't want to do that either. That's kind of why I want to have this talk. But also we're when we talk about it, we don't really get anywhere. And let me ask you one more question, honey. Do you think having the kids gone, that we're not really adapting to that very well? That we're really not dealing with that well, and we hadn't really figured out how to be a family without them in the house. Has that been hard for you? And I would just limit to those two questions and have him talk about this. Now, here's why I'm wanting to do that. Because when he starts to talk about it, if he can talk about it, and he's coming from where it's been like for him, your goal is not there to have him understand how he's being with you or anything. Your goal is one thing, to say this. I think I'd like for us to go sit down with somebody and let's try, let's figure out how we can get to a better place.
Okay.
Because I really want this next season. We're young, we're healthy. It's going to be fun to watch the kids go through these next seasons and all this. And so let's go talk to somebody. I think that'd be good. That's why I want you to have that conversation. That's the goal. Not to get in an argument or anything. Draw out his pain. Draw out his pain. Join him in his pain and say, let's go work on this together and see if you can get in there. Because right now you guys need a chaperone. If you're at the place where he can't blink enough times to satisfy you, I don't know if you're going to resolve conflict without a chaperone.
Okay. All right. No, that's great. Okay. Thank you. Will do. And
all righty.
Happy emptiness.
You know what? I'm gonna do something on the empty nest one day. It's it's kind of interesting. Thanks for your call, Grace. It's I called you Grace. Sorry, Sarah. Um, Empty nesting is kind of it's been kind of interesting for us. Maybe one of the things. And by the way, I'm jumping around here. We talked about this, our team, yesterday, a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's still up on the Facebook page at the top. One of my daughters, Lucy, who's the singer. By the way, go to Lucy Cloud Music, or just go to Spotify or YouTube or iTunes or YouTube and just put in Lucy Cloud, uh, Numb or Jealous or Your Loss. Those are some of her songs anyway. But Lucy, who's the singer, I had her on the program, and it's still up there. And I interviewed her about what parents, what I'm sorry, what kids her age. She's 18. She's in college. What kids her age need from their parents, and what parents do to help, and what parents do to screw it up, and all that. And we just had a great time. And a lot of you responded, and this, that, and the other. Well, we got a bunch of requests also. Um, at that time, or some requests, for you'd like for me to have Tori, my wife, come on, and we take questions in the same way that Lucy and I did, about marriage. And I'll even ask her, what 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 do I do that's helpful, and what do I do that's really screwy and being an idiot, and what what are some things that help in marriage. And if you guys who are on the forums, if you think that would be helpful in any way or interesting, then let us know. And my people will call her people and try to get her get her on the program. We'll see if that works, and I can play your response, or I can show her your responses, and maybe we'll do that. Okay, but one of the things we can talk about is this empty nesting thing, because for some people, it is devastating. And there are a lot of times where there's I think, two or three big issues that happen in an empty nesting scenario. One is sometimes individually, for one or both of the parents, so much of their identity and who they are have been, you know, wrapped up in, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it, you know, numerically, in terms of time and energy and how much is spent. Their lives are about the kids, right? Well, then the kids are gone, and their lives are now about a vacuum. And so, how do they redefine themselves? And it really, really, really can hit them, and they can get paralyzed. And then that turns into a lot of bad self stuff, and saying, well, I'm a loser, I can't do anything, and all this kind of stuff. It's not true, but that's what the psychology of it does to them. And sometimes you add depression in there because of the loss. Then you get inactivity and loss of energy and negative thinking, which is all a problem in getting out of a hole. And now it just spirals. Okay. Another big problem happens in empty nesting is exactly the one that we just heard here from Sarah. And that is sometimes, two people focusing on, the best way to form an ally is to have a common enemy, right? So, yeah, I don't mean the kids are enemy, but you know what I mean. We're dealing with this chaos all the time. Well, parents have to work together to raise kids, and so it keeps them together. There's something holding them together. We got a common project here, right? Well, then the project leaves, and we look at each other and go, well, what are we doing together? Literally, those words, not why are we together, but what are we doing now while we are together? Since we're not parenting, what do I do with this person? How do I relate to you? What do we have in common? Where do we have fun together? What are our shared values? What's our shared mission? All of those kinds of things. And then the third thing that it can happen is it wakes up in people that seasons are changing of your life cycle. Okay. And now sometimes it hits people. This is the first time they've ever thought about, crap, I'm not going to live forever. And there's things I want to do. And am I getting down the road? And am I developing my dreams and talents and goals? And what's this next? There's a lot of things that happen that this becomes a symbol for. And so it's very, very important to face that. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but now, because we want to talk to some callers, but I do want to tell you something that for couples, one of the things that's really, really important in a marriage, and if Tori comes on the show, we can talk about this as well. But one of the things that's really, really important is, in a family, I'm gonna go backwards. When a marriage, when a couple has they've established their values. These are the things that are important to us. Okay. Number two, they're pretty clear about their roles. Like any team, football team has a quarterback and they got a running back. Okay, for example. Well, in a good relationship, people have different roles. Those don't have to be fixed or gender based or any of that crap. They can be flexible and all that, but everybody knows, what do I bring to the party that's different than what you bring to the party? Because that tells us what are each other's strengths that we can depend on here. Okay. And then that helps you become a team to go about the vision for your relationship. What's the vision for your marriage look like? You ever thought about that? How are you going to get somewhere if you don't know where you're going? What's the mission? Why did God bring these two people together? See, there's something that you two can do on the earth for humanity combined that has incredible value and passion and glue and ingenuity and creativity and everything for both of you working together with a common mission. What about our common relationships, the community we want to form and build together? What about our giving? How are we going to use our resources to make the world a better place? Doesn't matter how much you have. You know, at this juncture in life, we have way more to give than we had when we first started. But the philosophy is the same. See, a lot of people say, "Oh, you know, wish I had $1 million so I could give it away." Well, God probably turns to him. This is what I've seen over time. Turns to him and said, "Well, you're not giving anything out of the $10 you have now." See, giving is something that's a value that people do, no matter how much they have. And when a couple has a way of giving and serving together, these are all things. What's your vision for your your life as romantic partners? Your hobbies, all of that. And then also, what's the vision for you to support each other individually in your own individual pursuits? How are you going to support? See, a marriage is not just you're together all the time. It's like the old country and western song. How can I miss you if you never go away? you know, I mean, one of the things that I just love the most is I love it when when Tori has her girls' night out and going and doing things with her friends and there's a couple of trips she'll take a year that are with her sister always because they're big crazy you know mountain bikers and they'll go some on adventure trip and it makes me so happy to watch her go do that and she loves to see me go pursue the things I love and you support each other in that. See, but that doesn't just happen. That happens because you do things like sit down and talk about it and you have a plan. And sometimes you even need somebody to come in and help you plan that. That's what a good mentor, an older couple or another couple, or even a facilitator or a coach or a group at your church. How do we get a life plan for our marriage? Now, when you do that, something like an empty nest is an event that fits into the plan. So it doesn't uproot everything. It's got some tracks to run on. And that's how we survive all of life. We have tracks to run on. And that is really, 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 really important. And so I'm talking to you marrieds out there that you may not be facing empty nest, but it may be time for two of you to sit down and say, you know what? And guys, let me talk to you for a second. One of the things that that I hear a lot because I work with with CEOs and high performers, in business, and I hear this all the time, especially from men. I'll hear it. Yeah, you know what? I'm doing great. The company is doing well. Our business, and at work, I just feel like a superstar. I also hear this from high performing women as well, who are, like have big positions and jobs. And here's what they'll say the same thing. At work, I'm a superstar. I know what to do. Okay, I can pull this off. I mean, we're doing great. The business is doing great. The company is thriving. The board is happy. The stockholders, everybody, I'm doing great. At home, I'm a loser. I mean, I don't know what to do. It's just not my element. I don't know. And I'll look at him and I go, of course you know what to do. You just don't know that you can do it there. And they'll say, well, what are you talking about? I'll say, you do what you do at work. They go, what do you mean? I go, dude, think about this. What do you do at work? You start with a vision and you sit your team down. Say, let's have a retreat. Let's come up with our vision. What do we want this next year to look like? What do we want to look back a year from now? Here's what we accomplished. And then you ask the question, okay, if we're going to accomplish that, what do our values need to be? How do we need to behave with each other? We need to be respectful. We need to support each other. We need to be honest and have the difficult conversations. We need to help the one that's struggling, come together and help the one that's struggling. And you come up with a handful of values. Like, yeah, we do those retreats all the time. I go, right. And then you follow up on it, make sure, oh, yeah. And then when you bring your team together, you also, what do? You engage the talent around the vision, right? You say, we're going to go grow market share. Well, here's your role. You're going to take care of the sales and you're going to take care of the R&D and and everybody knows what they're doing, right? And then you get a plan and you work the plan. And then you have an accountability system where each week you check in, how's everybody doing? And then you fix the problems. They go, yeah, we do this all the time. I go, well, why don't you do that at home? And they go, seriously? I said, yeah, let me give you an example. I remember one time I was talking to the CEO and I said, we're going on vacation this summer or summer's coming. Sat down, had a family meeting, said, okay, guys, what do we want the summer to look like? Got this trip coming. What's our vision? Because talk about, the experiences they want to have. Say, okay, we got this vision. What's everybody's role? Well, mom's really good at, and she is really good at it, is researching all the places and finding where we go. You kids, why don't you go look at the activities that you think we want to do, and you go on Google and find those and this, that, and the other. And I don't know what I did. I did something, I guess. And then we had a plan of how to execute that. And everybody's engaged. You can do this. But how's a family or a marriage going to get somewhere without a vision and the talent and a strategy and a plan to develop these various aspects of life? In Alice in Wonderland, she runs up to the fork in the road, the Cheshire Cat's sitting there, and she's looking at the fork in the road and go, what do I do? What do I do? Which way do I go? And he goes, well, where are you trying to get to? She goes, I don't know. He said, well, I guess it doesn't matter then, does it? You go either way you want to. See, and a lot of times that's how people do their marriages. They don't know where they're trying to get to. Please take it seriously and do it that way. And if you're single, have these conversations. If you're getting serious about somebody, are they somebody that thinks about the dadgum future? Because you're going to wake up there, whether that's tomorrow after what you did last night, or that's 30 years from now trying to look back at a life well lived that's driven to that end point by intentional activities that are going to make that happen. That doesn't happen without intentionality. So very, very, very important.